Hello everyone and welcome to another post-commentary game of the BMSC 2017. I will be doing round 4 of the BMSC between Wayne Kelly and David Koenig. And tonight at 11:30 I will be doing the post-commentary with Quinn James. You can say hi.
Hi.
I'm not gonna attack you or anything for saying that. But let's just get straight into it.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fob is pretty clear on this rack. There's no bingo or anything like that. It's better than exchanging.
Mm-hmm. So I always try and balance exchanging and playing versus how many of those exchange tiles can I play, and what am I playing them with, and how much am I scoring?
Yeah, the only other thing that you really want to toss back is the V, and it's not with a blank oriented towards bingos. The V is a little bit better than it would be otherwise, so it's not as crucial to toss it back.
Let's see if I can type now. I'm not able to type. Anyway, Dave's. Yeah, that's right. Oh god.
Yeah. My
head's all over the place right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Dave's rack is a little bit less obvious here. If there was a spot for Jinx, then that would be a good thing to target, but there's not. So basically, you kind of have to decide: which one are you going to play off, or even you could consider exchanging JX and just going straight for the bingo, although I don't think that's actually correct, considering you can get 20-some for something like Jail at 7H or Lax at 9F.
Or even score into the 30s with something like Taxi or Axel, but we're not doing Axel because I'm sure that takes an E.
Yeah, that's not a great thing to do when you're not holding the E. If I were sitting there, I'd probably spend a few good minutes trying to find something that
doesn't exist.
No, trying to find something that would second level set up my J, maybe something playing something to open set up a JA, one of the double letters on 6F or 6K by lapping above fob. But the problem is that if you lap above fob, you can't use the X. You have to only use the X for face value. You can't play XO or whatever. So, and if you put the J there, there's actually, you know what? Jail might actually be right, because that actually does set up. No, it doesn't really set up the X, because now it's impossible to actually use that. Just JAI, however, does set up the X.
Yeah.
You could draw XI or XU to that.
You could
However,
argue, you could argue that jail also, if you get an ox word to the triple, but those are really hard.
Yeah, and the problem is that it's also suspicious. I might do it anyway, just because I'm not super impressed by what Axel and Taxi do to the board. It's not doing anything to help your J out. You're actually, with Taxi at least, you're actually decreasing the opportunity to play your J next turn.
Yeah. But Taxi is played.
It's fair. It's a fair enough decision,
Yeah, this is really confusing because the sheet that I'm trying to do this from is basically backwards.
Oh no!
Because it's been written by a Pakistani, so the player going first is on the right instead of the left, and I'm very confused.
Oh, that's interesting. I know that some people always put themselves on one side of the board, but yeah, if it's somebody else annotating them, that is weird. That's unhelpful.
It's very unhelpful.
Yeah.
But anyway, if I mess up, I'm really sorry.
That's fine. I understand.
I'm really sorry again. I'll just pretend I'm Canadian. I'm sorry.
All right. Ovality is playable a couple different places. 10I is the placement that scores the most. It's ovality making the blink a Y. Ovality actually plays better at 10C though, or 10B rather. Just spotted that. So yeah, that voltaic apparently another option, but not as good.
Voltaic and volatic.
Yep.
Like this.
You'd probably want to pick volatic actually, because they're so similar. But voltaic does put that double letter next to a vowel.
Anyway, ovality. Simple enough.
All right. So you can't hook this oxy. You can't really. I think that's Wayne's rack that we're setting up there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can't hook the oxy. You can't really do anything much to underlap the ovality because of the presence of that V.
You don't have an S to do something with fobs or taxi.
Yeah, this is tricky. My mind is immediately going to try and play something through the A of ovality or through the O, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of options. The word joller, J-O-L-L-E-R, is playable through that O. That's probably the best thing.
Jello. That's actually okay. Just based on speedy player. I probably wouldn't do it, but it's okay.
Yeah, so Jello versus Jarl versus Joller. Joller is a bit more aggressive.
And Jalebi.
Yeah, Jalebi is kind of more of a neutral, but Joller is a bit aggressive. I kind of like it because you are drawing 5 tiles, but your opponent has drawn 7. But you do have the advantage of that you're drawing 5 to AN, so you're a bit more likely to have a bingo. It's probably not. It's probably not the best play. Now that I see Jarl up there and Jalebi up there, I wouldn't have seen Jalebi. I don't know with 2 L's. Jalebi might actually be best. I think Jalebi is actually best because David's down. If David were up, Jarl would be best. But Jalebi opens the board wide open.
And it kind of opens out the right-hand side of the board a bit more.
Yeah, when you're trailing, you want to make sure that you leave not just a bunch of bingo spots, but also in a number of different quadrants, so that they can't be blocked in the same turn.
Okay, so Sim has Jello best, then Jarl, then Jolla, then Jalebi. All
right. Yeah, I'm not too surprised. Jalebi, the advantages of Jalebi don't come in the next couple turns, and that's a 1-ply sim. They would come over the course of the entire game. And they're pretty minor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wayne's rack of U's. At least I hope it's U's, because if it's a V, I'm kind of screwed.
Yeah, that's a weird distribution with the 3 V's.
I mean, it doesn't look like it's a V.
But yeah, David plays, plays more conventionally than me. So his players are probably more likely to sim best, and probably the majority of his decisions are. It's probably right. Like that might be why he's a little bit better. But our games are competitive. It's not like I'm completely out on a limb. And sometimes my first instinct on these is to do something a little wild, and if I think about it, that might not always be right.
Okay, so what about this?
Turn is trying to fill up some time because this turn is so awful. Quino is probably a little bit better than exchanging. That's at B6. Yeah.
So what about quinoa versus quinoa? Just putting an A on the end. Would you put the A on the end or not?
I would not. The reason why I would not is because putting the A on the end, the only real thing that does is create a new place for 5-letter words at A11, and what you're leaving is not conducive to really being able to use that spot all that effectively. Plus, you're giving your opponent the first shot at it.
Mm-hmm. And quinoa does seem best by like the smallest of margins.
Mm-hmm. Lactian, but I don't think it plays.
Doesn't look like it does either.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you just want to play it as a non-bonus.
Right. Which would probably not be advisable.
Mm-hmm.
This is
It's tricky because
I think I know what I want. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. It's like you can go fishing here, but there's no openings for you to play a bonus even if you go fishing. But then there's still no way to open the board out.
No, I have an idea. I think I like QAT at 6B. I think that's a really good way to open up another lane. It's better than true. There is technically a lane on column C, but that lane requires the use of an I, which you're not leaving, and so it doesn't really work for you. So you want to play QAT that opens up another lane, and you've already got under Jarl or through the Ellen Jarl. It also interferes with potential high scoring plays. That's C3 if your opponent has an I, which you have no reason to believe your opponent doesn't have an I, which again you can't use unless you're willing to throw away the entire rack in pursuit of an I.
Mm-hmm. Well, Cockle here likes race.
Yeah. I didn't spot race. Race is a good play. I don't think I even generated QAT probably. And again, that's another play that's advantage would not be on the one ply. It would be over the course of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, race is probably better. I think I still like QAT more than any of these other suggestions like raid or whatever.
Yeah, this is what ends up being played.
Yeah, that's a place where I think David's being a little bit too conservative. Yeah, I think that LA is a little bit paranoid because the X is already played, the Q is already played. So what in the world are you defending against? Like the K, like it's not worth defending against. Probably didn't generate race, probably didn't see or didn't like QAT, but probably didn't see race or anything like that. So it just looks like either being way too conservative or just not having an idea what to do on that turn.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like that play.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
Kind of?
Yeah. Well, because I don't know better, so. But
okay.
I usually think taking triples with only 2 tiles for like 1 pointers is like pointless anyway.
Yeah, most of the time it is.
And especially if Dave's behind, he's not really making any openings, so.
Yeah, if he had reason to believe that Wayne, had a high point tile, like explicit reason to believe that, then maybe. But I don't think Quino is a good enough reason to think that. If anything, I think it signals bad tiles. Signals having a mess.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, what's Wayne gonna do?
Ooh, maybe Unai C3. Ideally, you'd want to get rid of. Even was okay. Ideally, you'd want to get rid of both U's, but That's not so easy to do. I don't like... There's some options going from the Q, stuff like Queen Quine, but positionally, Wayne has lead. I don't want to do that, so... Yeah, something like Unai is fine.
Yeah, and you don't really want to try and be overly open either. Like, you don't want to do something like Ulu and then just be like, that's just a waste of a turn.
Yeah, if you were down by 100 maybe, but no.
Yeah, speedy player likes Unai.
Maybe not even if you were down by 100. Yeah. Has Ulu really close, but that's just speedy player assuming that, you know, opponent's just gonna wildly open.
Yeah.
All right.
So Dave's duplicated his C's and his E's on this turn.
Yeah. Whereas an open S, you could play assessant, which is a word that I always have trouble spelling.
I have problems even saying the word.
Yeah, I did it at first too. It's a weird one. Also, an open O would be an open A. Sorry, would be cetacean. I don't see either of those.
I don't see cetaceans on the board very often.
I think I've had it played on me.
I saw a couple of bunny rabbits this morning. They were cute.
Yeah. Yeah, Cetane almost fits. Yeah, this is actually race. Well, race again is probably the right play. The same spot, 11D, that we missed the first time.
Yeah, I mean you're unduplicating the C's, unduplicating the E's.
Yeah.
Scoring.
Yeah.
And I know you said we missed it, but I didn't miss it because I'm staring at the sheet, so I don't want to like immediately say, "Oh, this was played." I see this word. I was like, that's not the point.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't miss anything, of course.
No, I just don't want to spoil it. As well.
But yeah, you can see it actually just dumping the C on Coxie actually evaluates okay. The reason why you don't want to try and dump both C's is because of that Coxie. If you draw CO, then you can start a bingo there, and there's not really a ton of other letters that go there, and most of them are rare. So, and the C is a good bingo tile, so keeping that C in your back pocket is a good idea.
So Wayne has lots of higher scoring letters now. Well, 4 of them.
Yeah. So that there's really there's one obvious scoring place, which is going to be the D column. Plays at 4A could also score okay. I'm just trying to see what I can generate here. Jim at D3 looks okay. I was looking for the spot for... No, I don't even know if you... No, you can't spell Jimmy with both Y and I think. Yeah. So, but that doesn't really go anywhere.
Your speedy player likes Jim, and then it thinks it deserves an Emmy.
Yeah. Emmy is one of those words that I have no idea why it's in the dictionary, because really, I can't think of why it wouldn't be capitalized ever. And yet we've got cheeses that are uncapitalized half the time, like Gouda, and they're in, so... Or they're not in, so I don't get it.
Yeah. And yet here, my gets played, which... almost compared to other players like Jim, just don't seem enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim is kind of easy to miss. It's one of those words that it's not usually available. And even when it's available, it's not usually the right play because the vowel-consonant balance usually doesn't favor it. But in that case, it was best. Yeah.
So Dave's drawn his bonus.
Yeah. Centers is yeah, it's the sevens are centers, and the American and British spelling, and 10 recs. Looks like just either center spelling at J2 is probably best.
But would you favour putting the extra E floating as to not give an additional different floater in the R? Or would you not think that far ahead?
No, I would definitely be thinking that far ahead. I'd also be considering even the spot at 6E, and that I am giving a little bit of extra flexibility with the E. I'd also be considering ease of paralleling, which centers with RES is harder to parallel. Because I'm down, if this was Wayne protecting a lead, then I would probably go with the one on the board, ERS. Coming from behind, I'd probably go with RES because I still want entropy. I still want, or low entropy. Entropy. I still want fewer scoring spots and more bingo opportunities because I'm still down tempo. But it's a very, very minor decision.
Yeah. I think Dave, being American as well, he goes for the American spelling. Just as if to say, it's better.
I think that's more of a, generally that's more of a British thing, language superiority, but I don't know. David is David. I don't know. It talks a lot about CSW being superior, so I don't know whether that means he likes the American spelling better or he likes the British spelling better.
We'll have to ask him next time he's on. So, what do you think about American spellings? Like,
that'd be
but what's your opinion of maneuver and maneuver? Because I like that. I like the difference in spelling between our two countries.
I think I was in high school before I finally figured, was able to consistently spell the British spelling of maneuver correctly. I had an album with a song on it that had maneuver as part of the title and the British spelling. Anyway, we're getting really far afield.
Yeah, and we're only like 10 moves into the game.
Yeah.
Got another 20 left.
Well, I think it's okay to tangent a little bit, but
but not
stop
like...
me when I get to it. Yeah. So I'm looking for basically getting rid of the M, the G, and the U, and maybe the D as well. I think Mudge at E4, making Nim, is probably the best way to do that. Munged at 4H is another way to play the exact same tiles.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
Good
Agendum Goodman, the plural of Goodman. So that's pretty similar as well. There's really not a ton separating those plays. They all kind of interfere with spots in one way or another. Munge probably interferes the least with spots in terms of bingos, but it also doesn't create scoring opportunities back, whereas Goodman does. And Munged kind of splits the difference. It does make one minor line with that D, and it does create moderate scoring opportunities, but also blocks the T double-double, which every other play does except Goodman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not what's played though. This is what's played.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would really want to get rid of the U.
Yeah.
So.
Chris Light taught me that you've always got to try and get rid of those U's unless, like, it's rarely okay to keep a U. Basically,
yeah.
That's essentially what he said.
Yeah. The same applies to the G, so I'd get rid of both, honestly. Ooh, that is quite a
looks
rap.
like a Wookiee.
Yes.
I feel so confused trying to do this score sheet. It's just messing with my head.
Yeah.
Oh well. I haven't ruined anything yet.
All right. So, slightly better than exchanging is probably Katao at 5H, leaving IOU. It's a really weird kind of play, but I think it scores enough that it's right.
Yeah, 24 points is nothing to be sniffed at.
Yeah. If the vowels, if it was duplicating some of the vowels, I might not do it, but at least you're giving it 3 separate vowels. That's, that probably puts it just over the edge of making it better. And plus, you can't really, there's nothing good to keep in terms of exchange, so you'd probably just be exchanging 7.
Yeah, well, Katao is what's played. I like the way you say it. Katao. I have no idea how I would pronounce it, but
I don't know what the correct pronunciation is, or if there even is.
I think it might be
one.
Koto.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure, because you can have it with 2 W's, and you can have it without both the W's as well. So I think it may be Koto. Yeah.
The 2 W's was what was making me think it was Kowtow or Katao. With 2 W's, I'd probably just say Kowtow, which is probably wrong too. But I know it's originally like Cantonese or something, and probably pronounced completely different than what any of us is saying. But it's a corruption of whatever. So.
Yeah.
Scrabble word, I just tend to pronounce it, if I don't know, in such a way that it identifies the word, and then I'm just like, whatever after that.
But anyway, back to this.
Taluk at H1 is a good play in terms of just leave, but it doesn't really do what you want to the board. Even with a slight lead, you're kind of opening that extra spot to the T at H1 that could potentially be 80 points or more, going all the way to the triple. You would ideally want to play something hooking faded in the next turn or two at 12G to take out that particular area, which is otherwise very hard to take out. Basically, if you're not hooking it, you're basically not likely to be interfering with it at all. And even if with a slight lead, you do eventually want to take it out. The problem is I don't think that there is a 6 that reaches all the way to double that would make it worth actually doing. I don't see a play with this W that's worth actually doing. So Taluk probably just have to play Taluk for lack of better options.
Then you can always block it later if you really want to.
Yeah, and that's probably what you're gonna have to
just
do.
Take an A,
but so. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I learnt that once. Anyway, this is what's played.
Okay, that's reasonable.
I mean, it gets rid of what you ideally want to get rid of.
Yeah, it's a better leave. It doesn't create that T spot. It does leave the K right there for your opponent to use next.
But there are no C's left.
So what? There's still probably a decent number of ways to get to that K, yeah.
Yeah, there are N's and R's. So the C is just the riskier one.
Yeah. Yeah, C, you're really in a hole if that gets hit, but yeah.
The racks just aren't getting any better and the board is just getting worse.
Yeah, they really aren't. And David's in a position where an exchange would probably be costly. I'm looking for possibilities, hooking, you know, Hoxie or Doxy, but I'm not seeing a whole lot. I'm not seeing a whole lot with that faded again. You could play Dewey, I guess, and faded, but that seems like not a whole lot of points for your trouble. And if your day you don't really care about blocking that at all because you're trailing, so it doesn't really do that much for you either way.
Do you think the S is worth keeping on this board?
I do. Jarl is difficult to block and get anything back for it. Katao is a little easier to block, but you have to have kind of the right tiles. And Fade is there too. There's going to be S hooks for at least the next couple turns. Dewey kind of blows a couple of them up though, so it's anti-thematic. I might even play something like Pood at I3, even though it has a horrible leave. This is another one I'd want to look at for a while, probably in a real game, and figure out what to do. Even something like Rudy at 7J, which seems silly, at least it does something for the board and keeps a good leave.
I actually did quite like this first move that was an option. I do quite like Pious.
I don't really love it.
Maybe it's because just me.
Because it does keep that. It does get rid of that D, but yeah, maybe Cupid, which is the third move up there. That could have some potential. It creates a spot that's kind of hard to use, but that could be a distraction. It preserves the S hooks elsewhere on the board and preserves your own S. You're down, so that might be the right thing to do.
And you know what? That's what's done. Just that's what's done.
Yeah. Like I said, Dave usually makes good decisions.
So, yeah, Wayne's Rack.
Okay, so
it's kind of ugly.
Let's see. There is the potential for some scoring. Trake at H1 scores okay. Some plays with that E. I'm sometimes a little slow with the parallel plays.
It doesn't matter. Let's just hit generate choices and see what there is.
Okay.
Trake, twerp.
Yeah, it's apparently there aren't any good parallel plays under the E.
Yeah, just imagine you would just wasted like 5 minutes of this just staring at the E.
I probably would have wasted more like a minute and a half, but
it would have felt like 5 minutes.
It probably would have. I'm used to that though. A lot of times in a tournament, every turn feels like 5 minutes.
Waiting for my opponent to play always feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah. They're taking a long time, and especially if it's turn where their next turn could just change the entire board and change whatever your next move is going to be and blow up all your plans.
Yeah.
Then that's really annoying to wait.
I tend not to think about it. I just I'll just think about my own play when my opponent makes their play. But anyway, what would you do? Which one of these would you choose?
I'd still play Drake.
Despite the fact that you don't like the T there and that it's an 80-point play comeback, potentially.
Yeah, despite that, it's becoming... basically it's just a matter of what are your other options. Twerp is even worse for your lead because that just creates a nice little user-friendly bingo lane on the M column, which doesn't really currently exist. That kind of anything that starts with a vowel can kind of go there, except unless the vowel is U. And that's the type of lane that doesn't exist right now, so you don't really want to make it. Peer at 1M is just, it's not really clear what you're doing there. It seems a little paranoid about, you know, bingos that start with S or something, and it does give back, it increases the value of plays under Cupid. Potentially could give back, you know, although with the pool there's no X, so it's a little better, but even something like, you know, GR or something is still some cheap 25-ish, and I don't know, it's Trake is better. I think, look at all these E's in the pool. That really alters the value of all these leaves, and getting another opportunity to draw one of these E's, leaving 3 consonants isn't so bad. And there's you know, there's a fair number of the other vowels as well. But yeah.
Yeah, Peer is played. I was just waiting to say that.
Yeah, I think that's a little too conservative. Like, you're up by like 11. It's not like you're protecting a 100-point lead. If you're up by 11 in the mid game, then it's fine to be looking for even creating bingo opportunities for yourself. You don't want your opponent to be playing and they took the last bingo spot and you could have bingoed back, but now you can't. Like, that starts to become more of a consideration at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm. So now, Dave's rack.
All right. So,
I mean, nothing can use the PI after PI, really.
Yeah.
So you can't score so well from that, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's even difficult to kind of use that W in Katao, or you want to look at using that K in Katao, and that's even difficult. I do see Chic, but that requires spending your S, which is not ideal.
And you don't want to put the S there.
Yeah, it's you probably don't, but I mean, you're down, so that doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, this is one you would probably want to be looking at playing off the Y, the O, and the H in that order, and any sort of extra thing that you're playing off is probably that's just a sacrifice. I think I would play just OY at 4L, and that it does take an E. It also takes an S, so it's making an S hook that's less lucrative to block for your opponent. Mm-hmm. You're preserving the S. You've got S hooks elsewhere, and you're keeping the best leaf.
So what about this? No.
I missed that. That's probably enough points to make it better than Oi. Chic is not enough points to make it better than Oi.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, onesie.
No. Is that a new word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you just say, yeah, onesie. No. No, just immediately no. But anyway, Oi is what's played.
Yeah.
I'm actually having to think while I input these, because otherwise I'm going to input the wrong one.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
All right, so Wayne is getting the blank, but it's difficult to see whether Wayne even has playable bingos. Doesn't have an S, which doesn't help. The T, nothing that starts with a D and faded. Yeah, I don't really see. In a real game, I would probably look for another minute just to make sure. This one, I'm just going to say Glake at H1 keeps the best leave. Once you have a blank, you really actually actively want to create that extra lane. So, because not having or having lanes that are only oriented towards tiles you don't have is actively hurting you now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when opening out G's, sometimes I always think, okay, how many I's and N's are left? And there's only 2 of each. And it's not really like, you don't have to be super worried about a bonus ending ing.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, after Oi, you're not super worried about the bonus at all. You're more worried about bonusing back because your opponent's just fished. You've got a slight lead. If you can bonus back, then you're fine. If you can't, then you're in trouble. Mm-hmm. And honestly, putting that G there, most likely what you're going to end up doing, if you do bingo there, is bingoing for like 59 with like an AGE word or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And it has the added bonus of scoring over 30 points on this board.
It's like, it's fine. It's like when you're getting 33, like it's fine even if you get 59 for your bingo. You're still probably coming out ahead over whatever Dave's next bingo is.
Yeah, well, Wayne plays Liger. Just.
That's a bad play.
It's defensive, and it just shouldn't be.
It's nonsense. It really is nonsense. Like, I feel like Wayne Kelly can probably take the criticism. But yeah, that's it. I am surprised given the quality of the previous moves, which seemed all right, that would. I don't know where that came from.
Well, you said they were just all right, so maybe that's where they came from. I'm joking, of course.
I know. It's the kind. I mean, I've done that too, especially earlier in my career. I just made a play that made no sense because I couldn't think of anything else. But yeah, I don't know what the logic is. Sir, probably didn't see Glake, but even beyond that, I guess the idea is that you're limiting that K, but you're not even limiting it that much. All of a sudden, if your opponent has no vowels, then they can use the spot now. So in some ways, it's actually helping your opponents use the spot, and it doesn't do anything for your blank. It doesn't help your blank at all.
Mm-hmm. So Dave's rack now.
Yeah, this is a 7 Theines, but doesn't go
because the board is cruel.
Yeah, because the board is set up in such a way that Dave is trying to be the only one with a bingo, but that's not working out right now. So what Dave might do is play something like a 10 at 3M and just get some points.
How about net, which is what he does?
Net is interesting. It does kind of set up his own H, which is nice, but on the other hand, it's way easier to use that T for like other things than the N is. Like, the point of the play isn't really creating the line. It's more just scoring, because at this point in the game, that's fine.
So what do you think about Think?
The difficult thing about Think is it leaves EEIS, so it's anti-thematic because you're creating... Anti-thematic is a word that Kenji uses in his book.
He uses big words a lot, I guess.
I'll explain what it means because it keeps coming up in this game.
It will take up the whole video.
No, it wouldn't. I think I can do it in a couple sentences. Anti-thematic basically means that your play is kind of going counter to the law. The actual effect of your play is going counter to what you want to do on your turn. And if not for that, then it would be a good play. But because you're actively trying to do something else, then it becomes a bad play. So it's different from plays that are just bad on their merits. Anti-thematic means it's bad because you want to be doing something else, and that it creates. Oh man, I got that wrong, and you probably no. It's got more of an implication of that it does something to the board that contradicts itself in terms of benefits. So it would benefit you if not for another factor in the same play. So
it would benefit you if not for the 6Es that were in the back.
Yeah. Like, even then, though, it's more about the fact that EIS is not really a great leave, and you can leave better things.
Yeah.
So yeah, net is better. I'm sorry for murdering that description of Kenji's thing.
Yeah, well, it's Kenji's loss.
I think I got it right the second time.
Anyway, Wayne looks like he's finally got a good enough rack to do something with.
Yeah, he can do tabarets at 03. He could have done sorbate, hooking fates before, but now he can score more thanks to Dave.
Thanks to his generosity.
Yes.
So would you do tabaret or tabarets?
I would do tabarets because tabarets is harder to parallel with a bingo.
Yeah, but Wayne doesn't think on the same wavelength as you, sadly.
No, actually, I just noticed the Z's unseen, so that's another consideration, but since ZO is still playable after tabarets...
But there is only one O.
Yeah. Okay, but tabaret, okay, yeah. I'm down with tabaret because...
You've been converted to the British spelling.
I'm down with tabaret. Is it even a British versus American? I don't know if it's even common enough that it matters, but...
I don't know.
There's 3 A's out, basically, and so tabarets, the ZA would be playable, but with tabaret, only ZO is playable. So tabaret actually is a little better.
Mm-hmm. So Dave's no closer to his bonus, still.
Yeah. It would. It does make 2 bingos with a T, Atheis and Anesthesia, but neither one of them would have actually played with that T. He does have Chic available again, or no wait, he doesn't. That's not useful Chic. That's EI.
He can misspell Chic. That's an option.
He could. Probably not advisable, but he could. He has EA and quinoa, which is one way to fish. He has AH tabaret, but that duplicates 2 sets of tiles. I'm not quite ready for the choices.
You just want to think about it.
Oh, I just want to make sure that, like, I'm not doing like 5-minute analysis. I'm just trying to make sure that I at least have time to see the entire board.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with David, down by 80 now, you don't really want to keep this board like this. I think I like SEI H1.
You're opening up another section of the board as well.
Yeah, it's just a straight fish, but as you said before, the S is probably the most dangerous thing you can put there. And it's probably not going to be a lot of points if Wayne blocks it.
Mm-hmm. And even then, if Wayne blocks it, he still leaves column N open.
Yes, and also you're keeping another S, so also the Jarl Fates and stuff is still available.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Championship Player will like it, only because
it's not that smart.
Well, it would probably like it if it was 9 unseen tiles instead of 19, or 10 unseen tiles, so it doesn't empty the bag. With 19, there's too much noise for one. Yeah. Well, Championship Player isn't one play, but there's still a lot of noise. So, AH is another strong play. I think I like. Yeah. And it just says AH. SCI is cool in a lot of ways. AH might be. You just see it's 30. I think I was underscoring it. might be worth it just because SHO is good, and that's just another advantage. But like I said, does duplicate. There's all those E's left. Yeah, the plays are close. SCI is probably a lot better than Sims, though.
Well, Dave does play AH.
That's fair enough.
And you did say that he probably plays things because he's right and things. So
in situations like this, yes. There's situations where I think that I make it better plays, but this isn't one of them.
Yeah. So Wayne's got that Z.
Right.
At least his place for 60 wasn't blocked because it didn't exist.
Yeah. So ZHO is now a hook that exists. So
that hook has always existed. I don't know what you're on about.
So yeah, it now exists on this board. So ZEE is an option. It kind of opens though, so I don't know. Most of the options that I see open. Shirk at H1 obviously opens. Yeah, the ideally you'd want to keep EIRS. That's going to be difficult. That's if you were
going for a bonus, right?
Oh no, you'd always want to keep it. I mean, you'd always, if you drew a bonus, that would be the end of the game. So even if you're up by 60, it doesn't mean you sacrifice things to get a bonus necessarily, but you would take one, obviously. So there's ZEE at 9M would probably be the best compromise there. You're still scoring a bit of points, and you're still keeping really strong leave. Shire is also really strong, but you're also interfering with a very easy bingo lane, which David has the other S, or has one of the other S's. Well, actually, has both of the other S's, but it's not, and that's most likely, but it's not known for certain. That does influence the play, but Wayne could win the race anyway, and does have Shirk as a backup play at the next turn. Resize is as you can see, Resize is only 0.1 valuation better than Z.
Just based on speedy play.
Yeah. It does hasten the end of the game. I would put those plays close. I might actually pick Resize. I would not pick Reses. It has some defensive value, interfering with that lane and interfering with Fates as well, but it also creates, new lane through the E. There's still time to play through the Z and create another lane. Resize, even though it's not defensive, is stronger because there's going to be counterplay, and Resize plays another tile into the bag, so it makes it difficult for Dave to, dink around and fish.
I think I prefer Caesar over Resize because there's D's unseen.
I'm talking about Resize. Well, yeah, Resize 13B. You're not too worried about the D. That's hard to use for a lot of points.
Oh yeah, 13B. The D's not a problem.
Yeah, 13B is where I would play Resize.
Okay.
I know there's another spot. I would not play it at the N9 spot or
G12.
The G12 spot, 12G spot. Yeah, there's. I would play it. Yeah, I would play it 13B.
Let's go on with this rack now.
All right. This
or
is.
You could go on forever.
Yeah. Oh man, if this is so close, if not for the Fate being there, then this would be elsewise. Just double paralleling at 12C, and that would be really cool. But that's not the world that we have. Let's see, there's 5 unseen. The ideal is to play off 4. So start to look for ways to do that. WIZES is a way to do that, but it's, again, it's anti-thematic. It doesn't do what David wants at this point in the game. I don't know, like, yeah, there's various options. There's So and Jarls. There's, basically you do want to keep open the opportunity to bingo. I think Whizzes probably while we wait for championship player, because you are keeping that other S for Jarls, leaving 1 in the bag. There's still opportunities to win. But yeah, again, in a real game, I would hope I have more time to think about it.
That's interesting. Why is that any good?
I'm not sure if there's a reason. Quackle, I don't trust Quackle in pre-end games at all.
I don't trust it either. This is just weird. But anyway, Whizzes is played.
Yeah. Okay, so Wayne needs to block Savaged in the pool, which plays at 13D. I'm trying to see if there's any other things that play, and there probably isn't.
Probably just need to make sure that you play something that blocks rows 12 and 13, really.
Yeah. I mean, if there's nothing playable on row 13, then you don't need to block it. But, if you're not sure...
But more than likely, any play that you try to block on row 12 or row 13 is gonna... you're gonna kind of cover both, really.
Yeah, I mean, that depends. Just plunking the D down for Faded would block Savaged, but wouldn't necessarily totally block the S.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could be one way to do it. That would probably win the game. I'll just, I can just check Quackle to make sure that there's not anything with that S, but, I'm fairly certain. Sub anagram match and length. Min 8, max 8.
Can I hit championship player now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yay!
Just plunking the D should be 100%. There's nothing through that S. Wow.
Oh.
Yet another reminder that I don't know all the Quinn words. Not 9s.
You need to learn the Quinn words, but look, they're all only 75% win chance.
I don't... Again, that number is based on nothing. There's a bug in Quackle's pre-end game.
Yeah, because you should be blocking Savage anyway.
Yeah, like, what is this? Like, how do you win... I guess, yeah, Doff is better than just playing the D because... you can score or something. But, yeah, I don't see how that loses. I mean, I don't see how you get enough points back to win.
Yeah, I just don't see how... Yeah.
Did it even generate any 12G plays? Is that the problem?
It didn't generate any.
It didn't. Maybe try adding one in and see if it... Try adding in Doff and see if it sims better.
I would have to hit simulate, right?
I guess, yeah.
It might
I don't
take
know.
a while.
I don't know if championship players a different bug vulnerability or whatever, but yeah, I don't know if there's a way to get championship
look
player.
At Doff. Look at Doff.
Yeah.
It's just shot straight up there.
Yeah.
Though I wonder what it is that's actually losing with Doth being played.
Yeah,
there clearly is a loss.
I think I may have misspoken. I think Championship Player may not have the pre-end game, that specific pre-end game bump with the win percentage, although it's doing something weird clearly. But this simulation definitely does. These win numbers are all impossible because there's only one in the bag, so everything's win percentage should be a multiple of 12.5, and clearly that's not happening.
Maybe my Quackle's just broken.
No, it's not just your Quackle. This happens all the time.
But anyway, what is played is EDH.
That does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's actually, that one bug is why I stopped using Quackle and started using Elise.
I can't use Elise, it just confuses me.
It can be bad, but at least I trust its pre-end games. And even Championship Player is...
It's nice, harder to use to stream as well.
Yeah, as you saw there,
A bit weird.
Yeah, you can't... The thing about Championship Player, even if it gives correct results, as far as I know, you can't add a play to it. So if it just sits there and doesn't generate any of the correct plays, then it's going to say everything is a 75% win chance. So if you did have Savage, then you had 2 chances to have, then
that's your 25%
Quackle would lose.
Anyway, this rack, Dave doesn't have Savaged.
Yeah. He does not. He has Have, he has Voss, he has a bunch of things. None of them win. I don't know what the best one is. I'm not going to spend 5 minutes looking.
Quackle likes Eased best, and you know what? Eased was what was played.
Oh yeah, that gives Have, it threatens Have, and it also allows AVE next to the L of Jarl.
So you like it?
Yes. It's good endgame fundamentals. It does what you want to do.
And then here you basically score?
Yeah, play Hong or something and block the Have.
So you'd prefer Hong over Phenai?
Phenai is probably, yeah. As you can see, it's worked out the endgame completely. So I trust it when it says that it's 1 point better to play Fenny, but figuring that out over the board is probably kind of brutal.
And then obviously Have will come here.
Yeah.
And Dave gets the loss. Wayne gets the win. Wayne gets the win 438 to 397.
Yeah.
It was a weird game.
It was, and it's a little bit difficult to see how David could have won it. I do think that turn 3, the LA, was probably a mistake, but I'm not sure that it was a big enough mistake that it would have cost the game. I can't see on the screen right now, plays after Cupid, but I think probably all the ones up till then were probably basically fine. Oh, there was Oi that he missed Shonky, but Oi was only a little bit worse, only a few points worse, probably. Net was probably not the best play that turn, but I think David played pretty well. I think Wayne made some major mistakes. Liger was a pretty big mistake, especially, but he does get the win. Does enough to do that.
And that's really all that matters.
And blocks potential of Savage to have that locked up at the end.
Yeah, and with that, we are going to end our post-commentary of round 4.
As always, it was great doing that with you.
No probs. And maybe there will be more post-commentary tomorrow.
There may very well be.
So until then, we will see you guys on the next video.
Bye.
Bye, random video watchers.